Welcome to the Compressor Guru. In today's episode, the Guru will walk you through a valve job on an Ingersoll Rand 242. The Guru shows you the little quirks to make sure your valve job works when you are doing it yourself. And now, here's the Compressor Guru.
One of the things you get with the Ingersoll kits that we don't get with these aftermarket kits, we only got the finger valves. We did not get spare new screws and new nuts for the other side. With a lot of Ingersoll kits, you'll get the new hardware like that, and you'll get the copper washers that go and seal the, you'll get the copper washers that seal the bolts on the crankcase around the main cover and around the seal cover. So let's start on a low pressure plate. Super simple. All you're going to need is a 7/16 and a large screwdriver. You might need this to hook the screwdriver in case the bolt's tight, or in case the screw's tight. We're going to do these one side at a time, so as to not confuse which side goes where. When it goes back on the compressor, it'll only go one way because you notice you have one set of valves going in and one set of valves coming out, and they're not lined up to where you can just flip the plate over. This side's different than this side. So we're just going to work on one side at a time. We're going to start on the opposite side, but we're going to start on the opposite side by taking these nuts off the screws. Keep in mind there's a reason the nuts are on this side of this plate. That will become evident when we go back together, but there's actually journals. There's actually journals that these fit in. The other part of it is these are more likely to fall off during the operation of the machine, and if they happen to fall off and get down in the crank or in the cylinder wall, you can do some damage. These are actually designed to have least risk of damage from hardware coming loose. So make sure you put it together the way you tore it apart. And this screw, I don't want to put this in the vise. We're all set up with our camera work right here. Easy as pie. Okay, we're going to take those couple screws. And those are not threaded in. Now, I want you to pay careful attention. This is a dished finger. See it's spring loaded. It's made that way.
Do that again, please.
You want that? You like the way that zzz?
Yeah, I was zoomed in and didn't see it.
It's for a flea to go off a diving board.
I see. Works for ants too.
It might be a little, that probably would. Okay, this is what I used to drink, folks. Okay, so that one's off, and I'm going to pull the other side off before I clean this side up.
Why?
Just because I want to do one side at a time. I could clean part of this side up now. Let's see if this.
How are you going to make sure you get your nuts on the right side?
Because they're opposite of this side. See the nuts here, screw, and on the other side there's no nuts. This fits, you can actually see where this fits up against the cylinder, and this is the bottom side of the valve plate. So when it's on the machine, it actually goes like that.
Okay. I mean, I knew that, I was just checking for these other people, so
Oh, I
they
know
weren't
you knew that.
confused. These are the jokes, folks.
Did you get a license from Noel to use that?
No. So let's not tell him.
Yeah, it's not like he'll ever watch this. Noel's our pastor and amateur contractor, and he's a much better pastor than contractor. But if there's something to be built, he wants to be a part of it. So, okay, there we have it. I'm going to turn the camera off for a moment. We're going to wash a couple screws, a couple bolts, and I'm going to clean this side of the plate. I've cleaned these up. When I was cleaning them up, I took very special care not to touch this area of the port that the valve finger goes over. If you damage that area, if you oversand it and it's not perfectly even, it won't seal and it won't pump. This is a metal-to-metal seal that this can flap up to 1,000 times a minute and make an airtight seal to make the compressor pump right here. So we're going to put, I showed how this is dished. If you put this on the wrong way, it is a little diving board, and if the camera wife can show, we're not sealing anything between the port and there. However, if we put it down and hold it down tight, that actually makes an airtight seal.
If you turn it the other way and plink it, it sounds like a juice harp. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I will.
You can cut that part out.
Well, you'd be surprised what I didn't cut out of the other one. When I was getting my light, and you decided to talk about the smiley face inside and the sloth hanging upside down, and
Oh, it is what it looked like.
anyway, we put the screws in from the same side that they came out of. Remember, they were opposite of this side. We take a little bit of Loctite and just put, this is just thread locker, just put a drop on our thread, put a drop on our thread, and I already have the lock washers on. And yes, there's a lot of evidence on this plate that this machine was shut down for a long time without, with it having some water trapped inside it. There's all sorts of scars on different metal parts. Now this is only a small 1/4 inch screw, 7/16 nut, so we don't have to go nuts tightening it. And just to show you, I think I'll wipe that off on my beautifully clean pants. And I'll do that from the other side. And that should work perfect. Let me put the other side in. Yes, I got the other side correct. Okay, so we're ready to put this side down. We got our screws ready. Drop our screw through the finger valve, drop them into there. Turn it over, put our lock washers on. Take a drop of our thread locker. And our screws. So Oop. Now, here's something I almost went to tighten that up. Can you get that? Can you see the daylight through there?
Mm-hmm.
When you're going back together, make sure you cover the hole. This one did, and I didn't have to even look at it. But as I was getting ready to tighten this one up, that would not have sealed, that would have not have worked. And
Table makes a lot of noise.
that's new. Actually, we got this out of an office that was closing, and it just seemed like the right thing for this.
It's
And that
perfect.
pulled a little bit. I got to loosen it back up and make sure it's covering the port well. Now, if I were going to use this every day, it'd be up on cement blocks, so it'd fit me a little better. I'm a little bit low working at this. Remember, these are only 1/4-inch bolts. Don't go nuts. You don't want to break those. So, that's that side. Let's do this side. Now, we don't have a nut. These are threaded into the valve plate. There we go. Nothing to it. Get the next one broke loose. Nothing to it. See, this big belly does come in useful. I guess you could put it against a small belly. And, okay, those are all four loose. And while I was cleaning up the plate, after we did the other side, I cleaned up this side as well. I'll take just a moment and clean up under here. Since this is a total rebuild, I will give the good used parts back to the customer, and so he will get all but one valve finger. Remember, in our last episode, we had a bad valve finger on the high pressure side. So there's going to be some spare parts for Brad, and I sanded all around that, except where the fingers were. And Val, if you want to zoom in right there, you can see damage to the metal where it's had water laying on it. And we do have the new graphite type gaskets. I think they're called graphene. That being said, you can't use sealer on them. You can't get any petroleum byproduct on them or they're ruined. They do work very well, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope this isn't an issue. The worst case scenario is the customer will have to buy a valve plate, and I'll replace it for free, but we'll have to get a new valve plate because of the rust issues here if this doesn't work. So now we're putting the other side of the plate back together. We lay down our finger. We have a little flat washer. We take our Loctite, we put 1 drop on. Set that aside. These big giant paws get that little tiny screw started. Do it again. Line. Remember, I put the diving board down. That's a highly technical term. I'm sure my wife was thinking. What did you call it?
Springboard?
No. What musical instrument? A juice harp.
A juice harp.
And the torque meter in my arm says those are torqued perfectly. And we get one more. Washer, screw, finger is down. And I can nicely see where the old finger ran on this. So oh, what did I forget, Val?
You didn't put Loctite on it.
Don't forget your Loctite. Were you going to let me do that?
Nope, I was going to tell you, but I wanted to wait till you screwed it together and then make it harder for you.
Okay, thank you.
Because I'm good like that.
Yeah, you are.
Well, we want to show people some of the mistakes that are commonly made.
I'm not Tim the Toll Man Taylor. And except for burning the garage down in that episode last year.
Yeah, well.
No, it's this year yet.
It is.
Yeah, that was
It's
earlier.
still 2020. It's only supposed to go like that, you know?
Yeah. So, give you guys a clue what dates we're working with here. I picked this compressor up on December 23rd. I promised the customer he'd have it back for Monday the 28th. And we tore it down the evening of the 23rd. That's our last episode. And the camera wife did not want me to come to work on Christmas. However, Christmas Eve I came over and washed a lot of the parts and I honed the cylinders because my machine shop wasn't picking up their phone on Christmas Eve. So I actually had to dig my old hones out and take care of it myself. There's the low pressure side. That's how simple it is. That's how quick it is. And remember, do one side at a time. Remember, when you're doing one side at a time, remember your screws, the screw heads are on the opposite side from the other. You can't really screw this up if you just do one side at a time. Make sure your valve fingers cover the port. Use Loctite and make sure all your surfaces are clean. When you're cleaning surfaces, do not sand at the port. That's pretty simple. Let's do the high pressure side and we're almost done with this particular procedure. Okay, on this one you'll notice both sides, the intake and the discharge, both have nuts on them. Because this is a smaller cylinder, the valve plate needs to be just as big to accommodate the valve fingers. So they actually have a place where in the cylinder wall where these go. So it's just like the other side. All we have to do is make sure that our we're opposite the other side, and we're just going to do one side at a time. And there's a lot of rust on this. And those broke loose nice and easy. And no, I didn't PB blaster them, though. This is going so well, we might do this and we might not do any fast forwarding. This could go real time. But you're lagging in your conversational acuity and not being interesting enough, my dear. Can't see the smirk I'm getting on camera. So, okay, there's another good valve. I'm going to take just a minute and clean this plate, rinse these nuts. So I cleaned this up. I'm very concerned with all the rust damage to this. You can see where water laid in this for a long period of time to do this much damage. We're going to say a prayer and hope the new gaskets work. Otherwise, Brad might have to buy a couple plates, but he'll have a complete new machine then. Okay, going back together, we've got our valve finger.
What's on those?
I used a little brake cleaner these were exceptionally dirty, so I used a little bit of brake cleaner to help loosen that up.
Will our Loctite work on there?
Yeah, brake cleaner evaporates very quickly. There's still a little bit in the thing there. It evaporates very quickly and we'll be okay. Thanks for asking, camera wife. Am I forgetting anything?
Well, you haven't put the Loctite on yet, but you knew that.
You're a good girl.
So for our Christmas dinner, we had ham and I just cooked a turkey breast. And it appears that we are not going to have flaming turkey wings. Because by the time I made up some meals to freeze for Mother, you didn't have a whole lot of extra turkey.
I know. Leftover turkey's the only thing I really enjoy about those kind of dinners.
Those kind of dinners. You mean family dinners?
Yeah. Folks, I got a wonderful gift from my sister today. It's the day after Christmas. And long time a neighbor from where my sister and I grew up found some video clips from probably the late 70s, early 80s of my mom and dad. My mom and dad are both gone now. And I got 5 very short video clips from Bill, who is the grandson-in-law of the lady's birthday party that was filmed, but I got 5 short video clips of my mom and dad at this party. So I did what YouTubers do. I put them all together, took a couple thumbnails of them, and put them up on my other channel. I have another channel, and it's under Bud's Tool Sales. And the name of the channel is Things I Find Fun. And it's not technical stuff. It was a motorcycle parade in Arkansas that we were to in October, and it's our shed in our backyard being put up by 3 fellas, and we put that to music, so it's automatically demonetized, but we put it to music of a band I like called the Apologetics, and they'd take rock and roll, leave the original tune, and put Christian lyrics to it. But if you'd like to see Mom and Dad Steiner, you can check out Things I Like, and I've only got 3 videos up on that channel.
You only like 3 things?
Kind of. Okay, that one's done. Let's take and that one's done.
That didn't take as long as the other one.
No, we're half done. I'm sorry, that one's done.
Oh.
This one, remember during teardown, we popped this head off and this valve plate fell out. I'm going to take this off, and then we're going to have to be very careful with when we mount this, because that valve plate, that valve finger was broke for some time, and you can see a little wear on the edge of that. You can see a little wear right there at the end of my fingernail. When we put this back together, we're going to have this nicely positioned to make sure we cover those 2 wear marks, and then I'll show you how to test this valve to make sure it's going to hold air. So all the videos on this 242 will be shot today and tomorrow, tomorrow afternoon after church, but because this machine is promised back to the customer on Monday. And when I promise a machine back on Monday, unless something goes terribly, terribly wrong, it'll be back on Monday. Brad did know that there was possibilities of things going wrong because of the way this thing was knocking. However, the one thing I did not anticipate was the...
You need to clean that up at all, or you got
No,
it?
I already cleaned this side.
Oh, okay.
That's how rough it is. The one thing I did not anticipate on this was how rough these heads are inside. These valve plates being this corroded. So we're gonna do our best. What am I forgetting, Val?
You didn't forget it, you're just not at the place where you do it. Fa la 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 la. Take it away, Rusty. Fa la 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 la.
Yeah, Dad.
Christmas Vacation's quite the movie.
Did you bring a saw, Dad? Yes, we watched that over the last few days, so. She wanted a Christmas movie. And that's as Christmas movie as I can take. Chevy Chase is a funny one. Do not put this in a vise. If you put it in a vise, protect it with cloth, heavy cloth, or soft wood on each side. You do not want to damage this plate. I could do this work in the vise, but it would be easier to hold. But you do not want to damage this that way. Okay, this is our port that has a little bit of damage, and that's magnetic. Look at that. It's holding water, or it's holding cleaner. If that ran right out like that's good enough to hold air. I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about
Maybe
the
you
gas.
should try that again, because it looked like it came right out the other side originally.
It was leaking a little bit, but what I usually test this with is fuel oil, and this is so much thinner. See, there's a little pull
Drip.
in there.
Drip, and then it stopped. Drip. Okay.
Okay, I'm not concerned about that.
All right.
Okay, we can set these aside. I've already cleaned the heads. I will grab the heads real quick, just show you how these fit together since we're on this part of this episode. You'll see that in the assembly episode as well, but in case you're doing a 242, we want to make sure you have full understanding of this time.
Some of that damage you can see from rust.
Okay, here's our high pressure plate, and this, you can see the mark. This is the side it goes down to the cylinder, the piston. The other side, you can see where this divider runs, and that's rust. I sanded that. This divider runs, and so these screws go inside this port, and these nuts go inside this port and cannot drop down in to the cylinder if they should happen to work their way out. So with the gaskets, that goes on there just like that. And if you try to put it the wrong way, your bolt holes won't line up. So it actually has to go the correct way. And then the cylinder, the cast iron stops where that ring is. Can you see that ring? Mm-hmm. The cast iron's out here, and there's two little holes cast into the cylinder wall where those screws go and these two nuts go. So if that ever comes loose, they can't even fall down into the cylinders, therefore protecting the cylinder even if you do have a valve failure. I like this system better than the new 2475s. The 2475s, you can get pieces down into the cylinder and cause damage. With these, you couldn't. So that's ready to go back on. It's the same situation with this. You can see where the cylinder wall is on this one, and you can see where the screws go here, and you can see the stop for the finger valves. Very simply, right together like that, with gaskets, of course. So that's it. That's how to change your finger valves on a 242 Ingersoll Rand. We're going to continue. We're going to keep filming episodes today because we're pushed into having this back. But questions, comments, leave them below. We will update you in case there's any, in case one of these surfaces won't seal and we have to repair this on site. We may go out to the site with the camera, but I will update you in case the rust on these surfaces wouldn't hold a gasket. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day. Like, subscribe. You know the deal. Bye.